Hello and welcome to this video and to one that I thought could be kind of interesting, where I show you my spreadsheet of the things I packed in a hospital bag and then say whether I actually used it or not. She's in here, you might be able to hear her. She may or may not wake up. So again, we'll have to deal with that if and when it happens. So what I thought I would do is I would record my phone screen so that you can see the spreadsheet that I used when I was packing my hospital bag. It's split into sections for me, for Eloise, although it's just called baby at that point, and then for Pete. And I will run through what packed and whether we used them or not. Because quite frankly, the internet gives you a whole ream of stuff that you should take, and you may or may not need it. So for context, I have filmed my birth story, which should have come out before this one, so I'll link that up here if you want the full story before watching this. But I had a in the birth pool and out the birth pool birth in a midwife-led unit. I then spent one night on a ward after that. So that's the sort of brief context to why I may not have used some of this stuff. So let me just start recording my phone screen. So I probably will be looking down a bit as I'm doing this, but just so that you can see it as well. So as you can see, this is the section for me, and I don't know why there's the column, the big red column C. I don't know why that's there, that doesn't need to be there. But I split it down to the thing, whether we'd bought it or got it, and then whether we'd packed it. So the first one was toothbrush and toothpaste, which I didn't use, I'm ashamed to say. Yes, I did spend the night on the ward, but I didn't think about my personal hygiene at that point. I would still pack it because you never know. If I was there for a longer period of time, then I would have used it. Quite frankly, I had 2 nights of no sleep. The night leading up to her birth, where I was in labour and contracting, and then the night on the ward I didn't sleep. So the thought of actually looking after myself didn't really come into it, because I was also very focused on trying to sort her out, and also in a bit of back pain, and moving was difficult and stuff like that. So that's that one. The next one is the maternity pads. I took 2 packets. I obviously used them again with the, I said this in the birth video, but there might be a bit of TMI in this, but you bleed quite a lot after birth, so you go through them. So I did need them. I didn't get through a packet, I don't think. I can't remember quite clearly. I either used a packet and opened the second packet, or I only was in the first packet when I came home. Again, if I was there longer, the 2 packets would have been good, so I would take them. The maternity briefs, I didn't bother with and 6 knickers because that seemed excessive. I had 5 packs of maternity briefs. Obviously I wore 2 pairs because I was there for 2 days. I did change my pants. I may not have brushed my teeth, but I did change my pants. And having the big pants, like the ones that are supposed to come over your bump, is basically the ones I had, which I probably should have worn in my pregnancy but never did, was quite helpful and quite nice to have. Lip balm was recommended to me. You do get quite dry in labour and things like that. I didn't actually use it. I'm not a big lip balm person anyway, so maybe that's why I sort of forgot it was there, but it's small. Charged Kindle, I didn't use this. I did overnight. I used my Kindle overnight at home, but once I got into hospital I didn't use it. I thought about it in the hospital because I managed to get her to sleep at about 10ish. And then thought maybe I'll read my book for a little bit and then go to sleep myself. Naive, I know, but that didn't happen. So I did use it in labour, just not in the hospital. Phone charger, yes, I used that on the ward. Flannel, yes, I did use that in my first shower post-birth while I was still in the labour room. Nightie, again, I stayed, so if you saw the video where I bought a load of stuff, I actually used the check shirt. So I put that straight on once I'd had my shower and stuff after giving birth, and then I wore that the next day as well. It was a lot easier to open for breastfeeding and things like that. And although the ward was warm, I preferred that one to the pink one that I took with me. So I did take two, only used one. Slippers, yes, very helpful. I used those a lot in the labour room. So they made me get out of the pool occasionally, and I was very, very cold, so putting big fluffy slippers on helped with that. It was that and my dressing gown, which we'll come to in a bit. I did have flip-flops because I read, you know, if you're going to go and shower in the wards and stuff, you might want to wear flip-flops. If I didn't brush my teeth, you can tell I didn't actually shower the following day until I got home. I think I had one when I came home. But yeah, I just didn't. I only had the lunar sandals and I didn't want to take those, so I didn't take any flip-flops. So that's why that whole row is red. A hairbrush, I'd put my hair in plaits anyway. It's sort of become the thing I do now, so I didn't feel the need to redo my hair at that point, but I may have wanted one. The same with the cotton pads and the micellar water. I didn't know how I would feel after everything, so I didn't know if I'd want to clean my face or not, but I didn't actually use them. There's a common theme with anything to do with hygiene that I probably didn't use. Breast pads, we'll come on to breastfeeding and stuff more in a future video, but I didn't use them in hospital. Other people probably would have done. Nipple cream, forgot I had it until someone, just as I was being discharged, mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, I have that in my bag. It probably would have been helpful to use. Again, we'll cover breastfeeding a bit more in a future video. Maternity bra, I took two. I did only wear one, but it was helpful with her, although trying to unclip it and clip it all overnight wasn't really my thing, so I sort of just left it unclipped for most of the time. But yes, I did take it and I did use it. My pillow, glad I took it because obviously I stayed at night in the hospital, so it was nice to have my own pillow rather than their rubbish one with their rubbish pillowcase on it. He also used it in the labour room, so he had it on his chair to make that a little bit more comfortable, so glad we took that. Eye mask would have been helpful if I had any sleep on the labour ward. I didn't get any sleep, so I didn't need the eye mask. Snacks, we took a whole array between me and Pete, so you'll see that it's also on his, they're combined. He used some of them, ate some of them. I, in labour, ate one Pringle, so that wasn't that. But we did take some smoothies, which was helpful. I had one of those during labour, and then the following day while we were waiting for all the checks and the stuff to be discharged, and that took a very long time, we did dip into our snacks then as well. So I'm pretty sure we had the other smoothie and a flapjack and things like that. So glad we'd brought some snacks with us. We probably didn't need quite as many as we had. Something loose and comfy to wear. I think I actually just wore the same thing that I wore into hospital. No, I didn't. I wore a different dress out of hospital. It says here 3 outfits. I think I brought 2 in the end, but I think even if I'd stayed on the ward, I probably would have just stayed in the stuff that I slept in. I probably wouldn't have got myself dressed and things, unless I was there for ages, things may have different. But from my experience for the one night that I was there, I'm not sure I would have done. So it was only really to come out of the hospital that I put on proper clothes. Water, very helpful. So you can see that bottle behind me. I had that bottle and another bottle that was just the one I'd been drinking out of that day. So that came in very helpful throughout all of it. Not that I drank a lot and people told me off, but there we go. A fan, I did take one with me. I gave birth in February, so it wasn't that warm, and they'd had the window open in the labour room anyway, so I found it a little bit chilly. We actually shut it. I'm quite often a cold person, so that might be why as well. But I can see if it's the height of summer and like 40 degrees, those wards are very hot. Like, I was hot post-birth and things like that, so if that is the case, a fan would have been very helpful. It's just the time of year that I gave birth, didn't really need it. A towel for me, yes, used it. I obviously used a birthing pool, so a towel was helpful for that. I also had a shower post-birth. They encourage you to do it, and I obviously used my towel for that as well, so that was helpful. I've already mentioned it, but my dressing gown, again, something I'm glad I had to get in and out of the pool, because I got very, very cold doing that, like shaky cold. So I flung that on, and that was useful. Warm socks. didn't use them because I had my slippers. Again, as I said, the ward I found very warm, so I wouldn't have wanted it for that. I did find overnight when I was in hospital, I started putting my slippers on every time, but because I was in a lot of back pain and it was quite difficult to move, I just gave up with that stuff and just padded out to the toilet with bare feet, which probably isn't the most hygienic thing to do, and who knows what I've picked up there. But that's what I did anyway. Empty bag for washing was helpful. No, I didn't use it. It would have been helpful if I'd thought about using it, but there we go. Moisturiser again, no. And then my hospital notes, which again is repeated on everybody's thing to make sure that we took them. You obviously need for all of it. Then on to what we packed for Eloise, or in this case just baby. So 3 bodysuits. Yes, so she had one that she put on post-birth, which overnight she did the biggest poo in, so that one quickly got discarded and she was in another one. She then wore that one until we came home, but again, if we were there for longer she would have needed more, or if she'd done another explosive poo or weed on herself. So 3 is probably the right thing. That's the same for bodysuits and sleep suits. Newborn hat, we did bring one, but in the end the hospital put one on her, so she had a little knitted one from the hospital. Far too big, looks really stupid in pictures. I understand that babies don't regulate their temperature very well, but I'm still a bit confused by the whole hat thing because, as I said, it's so warm on those wards. Socks, she was in all-in-ones, so although we brought them we didn't need to use them because her sleep suits had feet. Again, if I'd thought about it and the fact that her sleep suits had feet, I wouldn't have needed to pack them, but they're so small. A coming home outfit, if different, I've said that I've packed it, but actually it's the same things, that it's the same sleep suits and stuff. In the end, we put her in the E Baby Grow that's been in the photos. If you follow us on social media, you would have seen that one. If you ever do want to follow us on social media, the links are always in the box below. So I'd originally thought she'd come home in that E outfit, but then we put her in that like as soon as she was born, and I'm glad we did that because obviously we got better pictures and things of straight as she's born with that on, which I like a lot. A blanket, yes, again we packed that, and that was purely for coming home so that I could tuck her in the car seat in it and things, because they can't wear a big fat snowsuit or anything, and it's February and she's come from a very warm hospital into February weather. Thankfully it was pretty dry and mild the day she came home, but the blanket was there for that. Bibs, didn't use them. Haven't used them yet with her, although she's getting a little dribbly now, so maybe we'll start. But again, they all sort of bundled together with the socks and the scratch mittens and all of that kind of stuff, so we didn't use those. Cotton pads, we just used the ones in the hospital in the end. When Pete came the following day, he changed her nappy, just used the ones from the hospital. I think, or he might have used ours. He certainly went and got water from them, so I feel like he got cotton buds from them, but maybe it was ours. Nappies, yes, needed them. I believe the hospital do have them, but we obviously had our own, so we used those. Nappy sacks, did we use the nappy sacks? No, we didn't use the nappy sacks in the end, so when she had her big blowout overnight, I actually got the midwife to change her, and she brought like a proper hazard bag for that to put everything in her clothes wise, and then just took the nappy to the bin, and Pete did the same thing when he changed it later on. So we didn't use that. Muslins, again, didn't use. I was attempting to breastfeed and there wasn't a lot coming out, so she never really got milky for it. We use them a lot now though. Her baby towel, again, we didn't use, but I didn't know whether they'd want me to bath her or not. I doubt it, because they tend to say don't bath for the first week or so, or at least till the vernix is gone or the cord has come off. So again, maybe if I thought about it, I probably wouldn't have packed it. The empty bag for washing turned out to be like a biohazard bag from the hospital for her. We did bring the snowsuit, but again, we didn't bother putting her in it because it wasn't that far to the car. And as I said, they can't go in the car seat in a snowsuit. Again, her notes, obviously we packed those. And then scratch mittens, I did try and put her in a pair overnight because she did have sharp nails and she was scratching her face, and I thought it might help her, but she screamed blue murder as I tried to put them on them, and as a person that hadn't slept for nearly 48 hours at that point, I couldn't be bothered to try and fight with her to do that, so I gave up. So if she hadn't screamed, then maybe we would have used them. But her stuff is so small that it all fit in like one small packing cube, so that was fine. Pete, he also brought sort of toiletries and stuff. We did ask whether we could be in a private room so that he could stay with me overnight, but they were so full that he wasn't able to. If he had, he would have wanted those things. So again, it's probably better to have it rather than not have it, just in case something happens and your partner or your birth partner is there with you overnight, because I know Pete, he would have felt horrible if he hadn't have had it. He did use his phone charger, so when I got transferred to the ward it was about 6 o'clock, so he had a couple of hours. Visiting hours were 8 till 8, so he had a few hours to stay with us. My mum also came, but that's besides the point, but he used his phone charger at that point because he'd drained it during using it while I was labouring and taking pictures and all of that kind of stuff. Similarly with the brush, same with the toiletries. Snacks I've already mentioned. Change of clothes, again, only it was a precaution more than anything else. Change we actually didn't do because when we'd been previously for like monitoring and stuff, we'd seen that the car parking and the vending machine were all contactless, so he only brought his cards basically, so we didn't need any change. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking. I'm going to skip over toiletries and the empty wash bag for him, and the notes, but the water again he used throughout. iPad I don't think we used at all, and then other things to entertain himself, he had his phone. So that's everything that we took with us. So actually we did use quite a lot of it, and the stuff that we didn't use, if our situation and our circumstance was different, then maybe we would have wanted it, but that's everything that we took. So for that we used a big suitcase and then the sort of bigger nappy bag rucksack that we had, and everything fit in that. I did have a small little black bag that I took just for like the beginning part. It had a bottle of water, my Kindle, my purse in it, and because we'd been previously earlier in the Sunday, again if you'd seen my birth video you'll understand the story, I just didn't bother taking stuff out. I just shoved a Kindle back in there and off we went with the 3 bags. We didn't need my little black bag, it was just there. It was just part of the stuff that we took. So if you've got any questions, because I know the hospital bag can be a bit of a minefield and you don't really know what to take with you, do feel free to put them in the box below. My battery's about to die, so if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!